Luffy vs Lucci, one of the most iconic anime fights of all time, taking place in one of the best story arcs in this series. There was an unbelievable amount of build up to this fight. Today we break down the main source of Rob Lucci's strength that was not only recognized by the Shibukai, but made the future king of the pirates drop to the ground. Stay tuned. Rokushiki, or the Six Powers, is a martial arts style and the main fighting method of the CP9 agents. Of the many powerful martial arts we've seen in One Piece, this is the form used by the world government's top assassins. Tekai is the technique where the user makes their body hard as iron. Based off various exercises and eastern styles of martial arts, in Shaolin Qigong there resides 72 arts that in descriptions and tales seem to compare and in some situations match the feats we've seen from Rokushiki. Among these 72 arts include the ability to pierce a chest with as little as 2 fingers, a 2-step punch that can deliver a sharp pain without even touching the target, different iron body skills, you get the idea, which sounds crazy, and of course everyone's free to draw their own conclusions. Tekai, great value haki, we'll leave it at that. One thing though is chi being the concept of the flow of energy and living beings, life energy essentially. It's a concept present in many cultures. It's present in many shonen in one form or another. It's the sole reason why white kids run like Naruto in the cafeteria.
Naruto has got to be down there. But the thing is, how am I to get down there in time? I know. I use my newest jutsu. Fast forward jutsu!
And in One Piece, it's haki. But that doesn't really leave an explanation for how Tekai is performed, unless it's a rudimentary form of haki armor, which may not even be the case because haki armor is more about your aura, while Tekai is about your physical durability. Interesting tidbit maybe? Geppo or moonwalk. Basically when people fly in kung fu movies, but a lot less funny. Rankaku.
Okay, I'm fucking doing it, dude.
The gun down.
Extremely fast kick that creates a compressed air blade capable of destroying stone buildings because anime. Soru, something Shinigami. I don't know, there's a joke there somewhere. Because anime. Kamie, not observation haki, I think. Now the user goes limp like a piece of paper to dodge all attacks, and it makes no sense. And Shigan, or finger pistol, you already know what's up. Have absolute mastery over all 6, and you can have the secret 7th power absolutely free. The fuck wrote that one? Greg, was that you? You always writing corny shit. Yeah, get him out of here. Get him the fuck out of here. God damn it. Rakugan, or 6 King Gun. If you notice, all of the offensive 6 powers have the properties to damage a Devil Fruit user like Luffy, which I think it's plot convenience. But still, it's part of the reason CP9 was such a bad matchup for Luffy. But anyways, the 6 King Gun clearly does some type of internal damage, and a lot like the reject and impact dials back in Skypiea, and very good for certain Devil Fruit users like Luffy that aren't susceptible to blunt damage. But how strong is a master of these abilities in terms of One Piece? While those with an incomplete set without Devil Fruit or Haki abilities can still prove to be extremely formidable. For example, Nero, who gave Frankie a really good fight, pre-time skip Frankie. He was basically on base form Luffy's level, probably a bit over him. Anyways, everyone we know of who has mastered all 6 of these powers has been classed as superhuman. To get an idea on the Doriki scale, which I'll explain a little bit more on later, the average armed soldier is 10, 500 is superhuman, while Khalifa, the weakest of the 6 powers masters, clocked in at 630. But that doesn't explain anything, which it can't, because the Doriki scale was mentioned like once ever in Ennies Lobby, and is only used to gauge the power of a Rokushiki user without incorporating any other factors. So why did I mention it? Because I like to feel smart. But if I can make one thing simple in a video that's so damn long, pre-time skip, Gear 2nd Luffy kicks Lucci's ass. I remember this fight being closer, and it's mad close. It goes down to the wire, but the biggest factors in this fight were Gear 2nd and the Rakugan. Finger Pistol as well gave Lucci an edge, but In Gear 2nd, he couldn't fuck with Luffy. We can all agree after their first defeat by CP9, Luffy and everyone did gain new determination to save Robin, but honestly it seems like Luffy gained a flat out Zenkai boost, not counting Gear 2nd. Might be how a lot of times shonen characters will get stronger after every fight, and especially after an L. Plot armor nonetheless. In the rematch, base form Luffy is somehow able to go toe to toe with Lucci, not really damage him, but annoy him to the point where he goes leopard form, which as a Zoan enhances his abilities. But when Luffy goes Gear 2nd, he wins basically every exchange. But when that runs out and it's Lucci's leopard form versus base Luffy, Luffy's just a damn chew toy. And of course Gear 3rd only landed once because it was way too slow. So yeah, Gear 2nd kicks Lucci's ass. Definitely seems like Luffy got a Zenkai boost. And Frankie got fucking nerfed. We know until they gained their respective power-ups, none of the Straw Hats could deal any significant damage to the middle tier. He was literally right in the middle, Bluno. Keeping in mind Frankie was not a Straw Hat at the time of his altercation with Bluno, we all know he would have tore his cheeks like Charmin Ultra had Rob Lucci not stepped in. The 3 attacks that seemingly came the closest to breaking Bluno's Tech Eye were Luffy's Gumu Gumu no Rifle, that's one of his strongest base form attacks, Sanji's Kankase, and Frankie with the ancient technique of Choke That Hoe. So this really goes to show that the Monster Trio power-ups are massive for them to clear the gap that CP9 had on them, especially for Luffy to low-key get bullied by Frankie and be unable to deal any damage to Bluno, then to go on and beat Lucci. So when we think about who Gear 2 Luffy would have been unable to beat, a great example being Kuma, based on how they all struggled against a single pacifista, we can at least speculate. Now, while the Shibukai to recognize Rob Lucci's strength, the rest of CP9 is not mentioned, like at all. Just taking a look at the Doriki scale again, which doesn't factor Devil Fruit abilities, Rob Lucci Rokushiki techniques are nearly twice as potent as the 2nd and 3rd strongest Kaku and Jabra. And since Lucci fights Sabo in Film Gold, although it's not canon, I believe this is in here to indicate a massive power boost we'll be seeing from Lucci when we see more of him. But where does that leave the rest of CP9 strength-wise? Well, I don't believe any of the other members at the Ennies Lobby point of the series is actually Shibukai level, but that is not an insult. And I mean actual Shibukai level, not this motherfucker right here. Because it's no secret that all the Shibukai past and present, including Moria, and excluding Buggy, because he's a gag character, are actually pretty OP when you go back and look at their respective arcs. Moria, while he was defeated by pre-time skip Luffy, just like CP9, Luffy could not have pulled it off without Gear 2nd, and in Thriller Bark, he definitely could not have done it without Nightmare Luffy. So if I had to class them, I believe all of CP9 would without a doubt fall above your average Vice Admiral. Some may believe that's not strong enough, some may say that's too strong. My mindset is that captains are fodder, just Straw Hats, unless you're pre-time skip Smoker. In canon, the only rear admiral we've seen in combat is Hina. You see, she's somewhat reasonably skilled, but once Luffy went Gear 2nd, she didn't know what the fuck to do with herself. I do want to believe she's on the high end of rear admirals though, because, I mean, she's a Marine, we know her name, and we know she has a backstory. So, I mean, she's gotta be somewhat combat relevant, I guess. But the way she got juked, I couldn't really picture her beating any member of CP9. Another person who has held the rear admiral position that we have seen in combat is X Drake. Pre-time skip, he was considered a rookie pirate, so we can assume that it had been less than a year since he had defected from the Marines. He's a frickin' beast. I'm assuming the only reason they had him as rear admiral and they didn't have him at the vice admiral position is because pre-time skip, you're not led to believe he had any type of haki. I do wonder why the rear admirals are so few in number. I guess it's once you get up to that level, your ass better learn some damn haki. And once you learn haki, you're basically qualified to be Vice Admiral. That's probably not it at all, but for some reason Oda does not draw Rear Admiral. While at the War of the Best, the Vice Admirals put in fucking work. The ones to attack Luffy were clearly not easily disposable, like Momonga and the fucking Dalmatian. Vice Admirals are extremely formidable and have to know haki, but they'd have to be extremely gifted to do battle with a legitimate Shibukai, because we're trying to scale power that exceeds all the Straw Hats, pre-time skip in their base forms, but someone that Sanji could clear with Diable Jambe, basically. Now we have an idea of where the CP9 agents under Rob Lucci may lie strength-wise. I also want to look at techniques similar to the 6 powers we've seen used in One Piece. I'm not going to say this is every skill similar to Rokushiki ever used, because if I'm wrong, someone will murder me in front of fucking Oda himself, but I'm sure this is most of them, and they actually get pretty discreet. Outside of the Cyberpol organization, we've only seen these techniques used in name by high-ranking Marine officers, and Kobe.
Who is this cute little lesbian, and how tight is her pussy?
Although some characters have used techniques very similar, most notably Sanji Skywalk, which is essentially the same thing, but since Sanji, under Zeph's teachings, devised the Blackleg style, the moonwalk, it seems so easy to adopt it deserves a rename. It fits very well under that fighting method, but the point is Rokushiki is a fighting style really only used by world government officials and Virgo. But explain to me how this man was able to blend in 15 years and no one got this dude a background check. Now, but I can't get too serious about Virgo because that's a video topic in itself. But we do know he had mastery of at least 3 Rokushiki abilities: Soru, Shigan, and Geppo, and you could possibly assume he had Tekai and Kamiye as well, for obvious reasons. Also, might as well mention the only officers we've seen use any of the 6 powers by name in canon in One Piece, of course, were either Vice Admiral or directly trained under a Vice Admiral, because the only exceptions are Tashiki and Kobe. So it's not like just anyone has access to the knowledge and secret of these techniques, but the details of how exactly Marine officers gain them is a mystery, as well as why the 6 powers was the main method of combat for what was believed to be the most secret branch of the Cypher Pole organization. Is it just because the style is perfect for the stealthy assassinations the world government wants from the organization, or because it's just that effective of a fighting method? Anyways, other characters that have techniques similar to the 6 powers, there are a lot of characters that can flash step, vanish, whichever. In canon One Piece, Lafitte, Rikudo III, Dellinger, Hakuba, and Minotaurus move in speed similar to Soru. Also in chapter 388, it basically states when Gear 2 Luffy flash steps, he's using Soru, because as stated, he kicks the ground 10 times in a moment before moving. We also can't forget Captain Kuro's Nukiashi, or Stealth Foot, the name given to Kuro's super speed ability. Oda in the SBS 42 stated Kuro moves at about the same speed as Soru, but if you remember when Kuro uses this technique, he actually can't see who he's striking, making a master of the Soru technique far superior at these speeds. Doflamingo in chapter 745 basically uses Kaku's Rankyaku Amanadachi, which is insane if you think about it, how casually Dofi can rival the 6 powers. I'll also mention Shiki just because people love him, because it's kind of cheating since he has blades for legs, but can perform feats very similar to Rankyaku and Rankyaku variations. And in Gear 4, Luffy uses his bounce and elasticity to pump his legs in and out of his sockets, to use a very efficient form of Geppo. Since the 6 powers and similar techniques have been used on so many occasions since Ennies Lobby, it's almost as if Oda doesn't want us to forget it's a thing. So my question to you guys is, could it be Oda has plans for it in the future? Will we see new 6 powers masters in One Piece with the unknown members of CP0 if they are also based on assassinations? But if we remember Doriki, which I originally just believed to be a gag or joke on power levels, which it very may well be, like I said, it was only mentioned in Ennies Lobby, and it's a scale which you measure the strength of a 6 power user and the potency of their skills. Even though it was only mentioned once, there are many things Oda mentions once that seems insignificant that becomes relevant later. So do you believe this concept was for nothing? Could we learn the secrets of this fighting style that can not only decimate experienced fighters, but grants you the tools to combat a wide range of possible Devil Fruit users? And most importantly, could a 6 powers master contest a user of Armament and Observation Haki? I think most people will be quick to say no, but given the reveal of CP0 back in Dressrosa, there's a chance we haven't seen the end of 6 powers users. We know Armament Haki works for defense, but for the 6 powers we have Tekai, which although non-canon in the Zed's Ambition arc, it was used for offense in a manner similar to Armament Haki. Also happened in Marineford anime as well, which I'm sure most people's Armament Haki is superior to Tekai, and obviously Film Z isn't canon, but in a Tekai versus Armament Haki showdown, it ultimately be decided by the Tekai uses Doriki and the strength of the Haki used. And the same would go down for comparing Observation Haki versus Kamiye, which would also be pretty insane. And if you notice with CP9, the higher the Doriki, the more insane variations and combinations they had. for the Rokushiki techniques. If we were to see a new character or characters with Doriki that exceeded 3,000, or by chance maybe even exceeded what Rob Lucci's was 2 years ago, imagine the techniques they could pull off and how hard they actually be to take out. The amount of ways a Rokushiki user can attack and maneuver compared to that of a Haki user could potentially put them at an advantage, while Rob Lucci, according to Film Gold, does now possess Haki. I really wish we could see more Six Powers users without Haki. There aren't many ways to deal significant damage to Luffy because rubber, but we know Rokushiki has the tools to not only wound but bring him close to death. I mainly wanted to do this video because I feel Rokushiki is one of the most underrated combat methods in all of One Piece. Definitely beats out that sorry ass fisherman karate, and it'd be insane if there was a reason why it was used by the top agents of the world government. Alright, well I hope you guys enjoyed that. This video has been a long time in the making. I want to thank everyone who's been extremely patient with me. We're sort of in a transitional period here. From what we had with Burning Blood was really amazing, and I plan to keep doing that stuff, but I want to mix it up. I want to bring more exciting, I want to bring more informational and more comedic content to you guys. So let me know what you thought of videos like this. It really took me a while to think about what sort of format I want to bring unique One Piece videos in. I had a lot of fun making this video. I also had some frustrating times making this video, being extremely busy with work, going through writer's block. But yeah, if you actually sat through this entire video, I guess you can leave a comment to let me know you made it to the end. Put hashtag one cheek in your comment. Doesn't matter what the comment is, just have hashtag one cheek in it, and I'll know you made it all the way to the end of this video. I have tons of more creative One Piece related content lined up and other things, but until next time, I'm going to thank you guys very much for watching. It's been really real. All hell God Usopp, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.